Once upon a time, there were some little dolls who were the best of friends, and they had so many other friends too, but they spent a lot of time together and talked and told stories, and they even put pictures together and wrote poetry, and they had their poetry all over their walls. They loved being together and were such good friends. Hello, this is Debbie Schremer at Fairy House Vintage Antiques and Art in Provo, Utah. I just wanted to share with you some of the things that we have in our shop. This is a really cute little set that we repurposed. The table, if they're vintage, and I decoupaged the top and sides of the table with antique illustrations from children's books, and it's really cute. It's been varnished, and so it's really sturdy. We actually found the table separately from the chairs, and so when we found the chairs, we were really excited because they work perfectly with the table. So this set is 68, and it's in our shop. The address and information about our shop is in the description. Another piece that we have is, let's see, we have this beautiful print, a lovely framed print, of, it looks like maybe Elizabethan time period. I'm not sure of the time period, but it's very pretty. And this one is 65. It's in a lovely white carved frame. And then we also have this beautiful wooden carved mirror that's, I think it's either antique or vintage, and it's in really good condition. We have this in our shop. It's 110, so that's really lovely. We also have collages that I've done. They're really unusual. We have beautiful antique dresses, and this is a lovely beaded coat, velvet coat. We have antique chairs. This one is a throne chair with incredible carving, tapestries. We have lots of antique and vintage teacups, china. Our shop is also available as a venue for photo shoots. We have beautiful original paintings that we've done. We have jewelry, let's see, clocks, and lots of furniture, beautiful crystal perfume bottles. So I hope you'll come down to our shop in Provo, and if you're interested in renting, we have a lot of beautiful things for photo and film shoots. We have antique dresses, costumes, hats, glassware, bird cages. People could really make a great setting for photo and film shoots here in our shop. So we hope you'll come and visit, and text me or message us. This is the story of the flower dreamers. The valley was filled with beautiful flowers. Finches and sparrows flew about in the bright blue afternoon sky. Tiny ants hurried along their minute, well-traveled path to their busy home. Amidst all this beauty, there sat a little girl who wore a colorful crown of flowers in her long hair. At her feet there were rows of pink flowers, below them rows of blue flowers, purple and red flowers, another row of yellow and white. The girl had made a beautiful, delicate heart wreath from petals she had gathered in her basket.
She set it at the base of an old tree, a gift for some unknown person who would stumble upon it after her departure. The girl, whose name was Fleurette, had waited that morning early, sitting in the tall grasses and wildflowers, hoping to see the rabbits and the deer of the meadow. She had left her home right after breakfast, knowing that the little animals loved to go to the meadow very early each day. She laid back on the soft ground, the little flowers and grasses bending under her in a fan-like array of color, framing her as if she were a painting. She had seen a beetle earlier, crawling slowly along the blades of grass. It was black and shiny, with the tiniest delicate legs. She closed her eyes to wonder what she would feel like if she were a beetle. "No, I would rather be a butterfly or a bird," she said to herself. "Black is so very dark and cold. I want to be bright and beautiful." With that, the little girl fell asleep, dreaming of the beautiful flowers all around her, imagining herself as the most beautiful butterfly in the meadow. Earlier that summer, she had traveled with her grandmother to another village. She had never been there before. It was called Augustane. It was a very old village, filled with ancient houses made of stone and old wooden beams. Fleurette loved going there. Many of the villagers had cats, and they let them roam about the streets, as the villagers were all very friendly with one another. The girl and her grandmother had gone to the village to sell their baskets of flowers. They had spent all spring and early summer growing rows and rows of flowers, every kind of flower, every color. It was a wonder and an amazement to Fleurette. Each morning she and her grandmother had gone out to the large garden and watered each flower, giving it a bright smile and a sweet word of encouragement. What a delicate time that was, so pleasant and happy. The flowers seemed to speak to them. It was almost as if they had their very own secret language that only people who cared about the flowers could know and hear. The flowers told them of the beautiful world they had come from, a heavenly, lovely world filled with color and sunshine and warm days.
Once upon a time, there were some little dolls who were the best of friends, and they had so many other friends too, but they spent a lot of time together and talked and told stories, and they even put pictures together and wrote poetry, and they had their poetry all over their walls. They loved being together and were such good friends. They told each other lots of stories and had so much fun all the time. Little girls lived in a house of a lady who was an artist and a poet, and she had collected hundreds and hundreds of little dolls and little toys and had them everywhere. So whenever she walked out of the room, all the dolls would come to life, and they would play and run around, and they'd always have to be very careful, though, to listen for when the lady came back. So this lady, she was a princess. She had special ears and could hear any noise, so she would always be listening to see if the lady was coming back. But they had lots of fun anyway, and they played all the time. Until one day, the little boy in the house named Thomas was walking through the upstairs and saw the little dolls running around, and he thought, "Oh my gosh, what are they doing?" And he ran to tell his mother. She was so surprised, she thought, well, he must be imagining things. But he didn't think he was. He saw the dolls running around and the giraffes and the lions playing hide and seek, and he thought, I want to play with them. So he put his glass of milk down, turned around the corner really quietly to try to see if he could play with them. All of a sudden, the little boy saw the cat Duffy, who was a very big cat, and he noticed that he had a hold of one of the stuffed animals. What was he going to do? The little dog that Duffy had been playing with was really okay, but he was kind of curious. He thought, I wonder what all the other dolls and toys are doing right now. He thought, maybe I can get away from this big cat if I hurry and run away really quietly. He was quite stealthful and deliberate, and he walked away very quietly, and Duffy didn't notice him. The little dog realized that he had been sitting in his favorite chair for a long time and hadn't really looked around the room. He was always afraid that he would get caught. One time, the dog even looked around and saw that there was a huge collection of little toys and handmade little animals and teacups and even some fairies who looked like they were caught in the glass cabinet, even though they were surrounded by lots of teacups and glass furniture and other little cherishable things. The dog thought, I wish I could get that little fairy out of there. She looks like she's looking for someone to help her. And there's even a fairy over here who's so worried that the little fairy friend that's in the glass case will never be able to get out. But maybe these friends can help the little fairy to escape.
Then the little girl went into the workshop of the people that the bird had told her about. And there she saw the most incredible house she had ever seen. It was a fairy house, can you imagine? An incredible, magical fairy house with little beds and paintings on the wall, and tables and shingles from an old barn, and a little sink in the kitchen, a stove even in the kitchen. Look, oh my gosh, she said, there's even a stovepipe. Do they cook in their little house? Look at this little room with tiny little teacups. Oh my goodness, she thought to herself, who made these incredible